What's up, guys? Sub-Zeric here, back for another VOD review. Today, we're VOD reviewing a game from Setsuko from the Tacticians Cup number 2. He went 5th overall on the first day, which, anytime you're watching a TFT tournament, Setsuko's a pretty good person to bet on to make it to the final day. His way of playing, where he just plays a really, really strong early game, usually gets a win streak, and then turns that into a really, really strong late game because he knows how to play late game really well, does very, very well in these type of tournaments where there's people of varying skill levels, especially on day one. There's some people in this tournament who are like Grandmaster or who on slightly weaker servers. There's a Caitlyn 2 here that we could actually pick up and shop, and Setsuko doesn't want to pick up Caitlyn 2 here, which is already, I think, pretty notable. I think he really disrespects this unit early, and I mean, he's Setsuko, so I'm not going to say he's wrong, but it's pretty interesting that, yeah, he thinks this unit is quite weak. Could be also just because of the Shojin he has here as well, that he's not that interested in playing around the Caitlyn, but yeah, gets another Caitlyn pair and then sells it immediately. Augment-wise here, both Comet Caster and Epoch are fantastic options. I could see either one, and yeah, he's going to go for the Epoch here. Makes sense for Setsuko. Fast tempo, allows him to find some upgrades. Picks up a Zoe here, can get the blue Kale in onto the board. And now there's a Riven pair. Yeah, you want to field the Riven. The only downside is you have to sell something here. And yeah, actually, I like selling the Sivir over the Garen here. Garen fits really, really well onto this board. And Sivir, when you're playing the AP version of Kale, is just not that high of a priority. So yeah, I like selling the Sivir here. Allows us to hold the Riven pair. We could, with this Garen, end up getting something like an Alawi onto this board, which would be really, really nice for the Arcanist and the Warden. So yeah, I like the Garen better than the Sivir here. I think it makes perfect sense. We got an encounter coming up here, so let's see what it is. 4 free rerolls here, so we're going to get some more upgrades, I guess. And yeah, there's Riven too, so we can pick that up and get the Sivir pair back. 2 more Rivens, could be Riven reroll, but Setsuko immediately says, nah, I'm not interested in Riven reroll. And he is going to hold the Nico here. I like this as well. That's another unit that bridges the synergy gaps really, really well. If we get a Nico plus a Soraka in, that'll be a fantastic level 6 with Arcanist and the Heavenly synergy in as well. And it'll also be Altruist because we're going to be getting in Soraka. So that's kind of like the dream scenario for this board. We're fighting another pretty strong board. This guy's got a Zyra 2 with a Static Shiv. I've talked a million times about how strong this Zyra unit is, and yeah, it is going to end up making us lose that fight, which feels really, really bad here. Yeah, we got to make 10 gold here, so I love this from Setsuko. Ends up fielding the Zyra, which is slightly cheaper than the Garen 2. This allows us to make 10 gold here, especially in a situation like this where everybody got a bunch of free rerolls. It's so important to actually make this 10, because if we don't, we're going to be behind econ-wise the entire game. And it's very easy to say, oh, well, I spent my gold on upgrades, I'm just not going to make gold here, but it'll wreck your econ for the entire game. Speaking of wreck, that Kiana just walked to our back line and killed everything. That was horrifying. The unit is just an absolute monster. Off Carousel here, we have the belt open at this point, so Morello's is a good option. Nashor's is another good option. Nashor's would be fantastic if we were to play into like Zyra reroll, though we already have the Zoe, so it'd be awkward to transfer items over. But yeah, the Morello, very good generic item. This means that we are probably playing into a Lillia plus Morgana game. That's just the best AP comp in the game now by far. And these items, Morello does fantastic onto Morgana. It does okay on Lillia. I'm a huge Morello Lillia hater, but maybe we have to end up putting it on her late game just because that's how the items go. You'd much prefer have a 3-item Lillia, even if it ends up having to be Morello, than like having all your items, like some items on Lillia, some on Morgana. But if we get more items down the line, I would very much expect the Morello to end up going on to Morgana. So we'll see. We pick up a Soraka and a Zyra here in this shop. Like I said, Soraka is our next in here, Altruist and Heavenly, and she's just a pretty good unit. The downside is this means we're not making 10 gold, which means we're going to be a little bit broke this game. I mean, a lot of people in this lobby are going to be broke. You see, this is Gria. Yeah, this is Gria's board, and he is 0 gold right now. Maybe he's going to make 10 after the round. He does also have a very upgraded board, though. He's got that Riven 2 as well. He has a Rek'Sai 2 as well, and yeah, he does end up winning this fight. He is playing Call to Adventure, which is a really, I'll say, interesting augment. I tried playing this on ladder the other day. It was so funny because I needed like a top 4 or like ideally like a first to qualify for the Tactician's Trials for this. I played this augment, played Star Reaver, and just went the fastest 8th of my life, and I was so sad. But I ended up queuing it up again, getting some more LP. This is actually really interesting. Will he sell? Yeah, he does sell the Soraka here and holds on to the Teemo. Teemo is Fortune as well. He could play Fortune in the mid game. I wouldn't be that shocked if Setsuko does that. It's a 2 roll though. He's not too excited for it, but I mean, it looks like he's excited enough. Picks up the Ashe, but immediately says, yeah, I don't care about Ashe. There's no way with this situation. I'm playing Ashe. I guess if Ashe Lillia was still a comp, you could do that, but it's really not that much of a comp. So yeah, we're going to get in the mid-game stage 3 Fortune. This is a Setsuko special. Going to kill barely anything here because we're fighting a Silas. Oh my god, that was such a close fight. If we slammed Rod on our On our Zoe, we probably would have killed 1, maybe 2. We get working out with Set here, so that's okay. But yeah, it's going to be a slight mid-game fortune here for a couple of rounds, and then we'll revisit. I really hate slamming in this situation because we already have an XP, like, Econ augment, so we're going to be no combat augment if we take slamming here. I guess bulk is your best option. You certainly would reroll slamming here, but yeah, this is actually a really, really scary augment selection. We rolling it not today, so yeah, it has to be bulk here, which is really, really rough. The nice thing is that we do pick up this Lillia on the from the shop, and we already have the Nico, so we're starting to build towards the board that we need. So yeah, having Lillia is really, really nice. He does end up slamming the Rod on the Zoe, probably saying like, man, if I'd slammed this last round, I would have won. And yeah, he's not even going to make the Zyra 2, knowing that making Zyra 2 is going to cost him more gold than it's really going to then it's going to save HP wise. Setsuko, gotta push your luck here. Rolls another 2, which is a little awkward. We might end up just cashing out after a few rounds. There's also, we're scouting here. We see DQA as a fortune player, so this is going to start to get kind of awkward here because we can't. Ooh, he is going for the full loss streak here, but he looks and sees DQA is also going for something very, very similar. I mean, this is a very, very Setsuko type play. He wants to guarantee these losses. He wants to get to at least that 10 stack, and I don't know if he's going to raise the stakes again or if he's just going to take 10 stack fortune, which is not amazing, but it's something. But yeah, Setsuko loves playing like this. We have the Rod and Bow open here. The Bow can end up being like a static Shiv, I guess, is our best option. This is also onto a Nautilus, which is fantastic here. So yeah, I love this pickup. This is probably the best thing that we could hope for here. Nautilus for frontline. Maybe it would be like Annie would be the best pickup, but I mean, Nautilus always fits on the board. So yeah, we're actually like very quickly getting into a good board for this. The only downside is we got one more fight of this fortune. Hopefully we can lose these fights, but against the other people who are trying to open fort for fortune, it's really tough. He does open fort again himself. It looks like he might have still won that fight versus the other fortune players, so it's kind of rough, but hey, we luck out, we don't fight them, we take a bad loss. But yeah, 16 stacks here. It'll be interesting to see if Setsuko does cash here. I feel like you kind of have to, yeah, because if you roll something like a 6 here, your game is just absolutely doomed. You're just gonna die from 49 HP. You won't be able to stabilize enough. So yeah, he has to take the cash out here. Gets a couple of components which are not bad. The sword is not really one that I like very much in this comp, but we'll see. And he manages to actually put together a pretty decent board. He is going to make the Morello onto the Lillia here, put the Shojin on her as well, and then put the Static Shiv onto the Lux here. So yeah, he's just saying, I'm not confident that I'm going to have enough items on this Lillia, so I'm just going to throw the Morello onto her. I kind of would have liked to see the Morello just on the Ashe for like one round, and then we can think about moving it over, especially because we're going into minions here. There's a world where we end up picking up enough items that we can put items on Lillia, but yeah, looks like Setsuko just prefers the Morello onto Lillia, especially because we don't even have the Morgana yet, so, you know, there's even a possibility that we don't find one. Ooh, another Bow plus Rod's a little awkward, but we are going to level up here. Pick up a Econ, pick up a Wukong as well. These are really, really nice units to fit in, and we pick up the Morgana. We picked up basically like the entire board 1-starred, and there's a Mumu too, which can at least juice up our frontline a little bit, and the Diana here, which is really, really nice. Yeah, he's going to throw the Static Shiv onto Morgana here, make Vow onto Nautilus, and then GS onto Lillia. I mean, you kind of have to, right? You have this awkward sword and this awkward Bow, so yeah, I mean, you kind of have to make the GS. It's not my favorite Lillia item because a lot of her damage is backline, but I mean, it's a very smart play from Setsuko, just saying, I mean, I gotta make it, right? I can't not. Augment-wise here, he immediately zeroes in on the Tiny but Deadly. This is a solid augment. Baboom, not amazing in this spot, just because we really don't have that much mana generation. So yeah, I don't think we need to go for a Baboom in this spot. He's also thinking about getting the Soraka in here for Altruist plus the Heavenly, but yeah, I don't actually think you can play the Soraka yet in the spot like this. I mean, you can't really cut the Kog'Maw either because he's actually holding together your entire board. He's your Mythic and your Invoker, so yeah, you can't really cut him. But yeah, I don't think you actually can fit Soraka here, just because Morgana is such an insane unit this patch, in my opinion, that her targeting is so good now, and the Morgana plus the Lillia combination, just they clean up backline so easily. So yeah, I don't think you can actually end up cutting that. We could get some free rerolls here, actually. It'll be interesting to see what Setsuko picks. I feel like you got to take the rolls, yeah. Just because we're so many units 1-starred in the situation. We pick up the Alawi fits on the board. There's our Lillia too, which is really nice. Going to continue rolling down. Don't really find anything crazy, and yeah, he was holding on to that guy for a second, the Udyr, but not that interested in actually holding on to him long term. He thinks about getting the Soraka in over this Diana, but the Diana 2 is just so nice. It's frontline for our board. It's Dragon Lord with this Rakan. I feel like we have to continue to fit this, and yeah, he's even going to end up selling the Soraka here, saying it's just too far away for me to end up getting it on the board there. There's a Morgana on Carousel. Would also be Spark, so yeah, it's a Morgana 2 with, I mean, I guess we're not going to make a Ionic Spark here. It's not an amazing item when you already have Shiv Slam. That's not actually terrible, but the big thing is that we get Morgana 2 here. This can end up being frontline item. Pick up the Nico here, which we're immediately actually going to fit in for Mythic. This gives us Heavenly, and we value that more than Invoker on this board, which I think actually makes a decent bit of sense. I don't think Invoker 2 is going to change our unit's mana thresholds almost at all. So I think this makes a lot of sense. And he is actually going to, yeah, he's going to slam the Rod, going to slam the Cloak, saying he wants max bulk value, he wants to keep his streak. This is very Setsuko type play, and I love it. I mean, look at that. Those 2 slams surely won him that fight. If he did not put those items down for bulk value, he would have lost. So Setsuko always playing for win streak, always playing for his strongest board, makes these 2 slams, and he ends up getting rewarded really hard for it. So that's actually like really big keeping his streak there, especially if he ends up winning this next fight, because that is the difference. I mean, he got 3 gold basically for winning that fight, 2 for the streak, 1 for winning the fight. And then if he ends up winning this fight, that's going to be another 6 gold, 3 for streak here, 3 for the rest of our streak. We do end up sniping the Kaisa, though. Can we get through the Galio? It's so close again. Lillia does finish it off. I mean, that's incredible. Like I said, he just, by slamming those 2 components, winning last fight and winning this fight, he just net himself like 9 gold. 9 gold. 2 for the streak, 1 for the win, 3 for the streak, 3 for the streak on each of those rounds. So that is a huge swing for Setsuko. Another essentially 10 gold to roll, especially here, because this allows him to actually level, which is going to let him get some level 9 rolls. Then he's going to put the Hui onto the board here. He thought about duplicating the Anvil for a second and then thought better of it. That is something that you can do, but yeah, I don't know if it's what you want to be doing. And he's just going to opt to make a TG onto the Alawi here. Better frontline. Makes a lot of sense. I was looking at maybe like Rakan item, but you know, this allows him to bulk another unit, especially because it's Alawi 2. We really want to itemize her, and yeah, we end up winning this fight. Just really, really good intuition from Setsuko, I feel like, this entire game. I mean, that's just how the guy plays. He just slams whatever items he thinks are good, and he almost always thinks that the best items are good. You know, he just in his head, he's like, yeah, this seems right, and it almost always is. So for now, because we're so healthy, because we're on such a streak, because our board is so good, he's looking at keeping this Hui unit in for a few rounds. The ideal level up is probably going to be Janna, or, I mean, it's not really a level up because we're already level 9, but yeah, you can play Janna on this board, get the Invoker in, which it'll be nice on, you know, your level 9 board onto all these units. Also, it's Dragon Lord, which is pretty cool. There's some other options that you could potentially get in. I mean, we could even play, like, Vertical Sage, I guess, if we get like a Zyra in. Yeah, we end up picking the Nautilus too, so now he's just gonna say, all right, I'm gonna abandon this idea of playing for this Hui for so long. I'm probably just gonna duplicate this Teemo, take the 2 gold and get out, and then try to find something better to put onto the board. So makes a lot of sense. You really don't want to be keeping this Hui on the board for another 3 rounds to dupe a 5 cost. That would be like the only way to do it, is, and you'd have to find another 5 cost. I mean, it's maybe something you could think about actually after winning that fight, because now it's only 2 more rounds. We're never gonna die, and yes, Setsuko's gonna play for max cap and go for that here. Morgana item is what I would think here, like a Nashers. I don't think any of these spats or Archangels. I feel like Nashers is the better Morgana item, but yeah, he's gonna go for Nashers, okay. And I assume it's gonna go into Morgana, yeah. And yeah, actually, after winning that last, if we lost that last fight, I'd be a little bit scared about this, but because we naturaled the Nautilus too, I actually like this a lot. We just have to wait 2 rounds to duplicate something here. Duplicating the Rakan would be huge. Duplicating the Wukong would be less huge, just because I'm a bit of a Wukong hater on this board. I feel like this unit always just monkeys around and does nothing, but I mean, that's fine. I mean, he is a monkey. But the Rakan 2, I think, is actually like a much bigger upgrade. He's like a little bit more frontline, a little bit of extra damage. The big thing is getting that damage reduction on his cast. So yeah, we're gonna roll down here. I guess you have the option of picking up Hui 2. I am a certified waiter here. I do not care about this Hui unit whatsoever. Oh my god, it was like a tiny moth. What the fuck? But we are just gonna roll down here and pick up a Wukong pair. So I guess that's what we'll live with here is Wukong 2, which, I mean, not amazing, but good enough. And hey, we killed Jungle Book here. It is a top 4 easily here. Just look at the HPs in this lobby. Oh, he picks up the Rakan at the last second. He's so salty that he didn't actually get to duplicate the Rakan. It's okay, but that's actually so funny. But yeah, we get the Rakan, and we at this point can cut the Hui if we want to, and yeah, he's even going to sell the Hui, saying, even if I just natural the Hui 2 next round, I'm not going to play it, which is pretty funny. And the big thing here is we just have to figure out something to add to this board. I said the Janna is very natural. We don't have a Janna yet. He did pick up the Lee Sin that maybe he could fit onto this board. Picks up the Azir. Okay, yeah, the Azir fits very, very well onto this board. It's Invoker, and he's just a good unit. Moves the TG over so that he can put it onto somebody else. He actually ends up putting it onto Nico here, and then puts the Redemption onto Alawi here. Kind of interesting, but I guess he just wants more frontline. The TG onto a unit on the front line is really, really nice because it's getting bulk value. We end up winning that fight, so it is a top 2. Finds the Soraka, who is another fantastic addition. Yeah, I guess that's the other really big one that you could add, either Janna or Soraka here. And yeah, he's holding on to this Azir, but he's probably just going to end up selling that because I don't think he really fits on this board. So at this point, we're just stuck. We're fighting a Gnar board. Gnar 3 actually made it this far with double Dryad spats. That is wild, actually. They didn't even end up hitting Kindred 3, but just the power of Gnar 3 with this much tankiness. This is actually like a really tough matchup for us. Lillia almost gets through, but our board has almost 0 single target, right? Lillia barely does any single target damage to frontline. The Morgana also does very little single target, so it's actually really, really hard unless we pick up something like an Azir 2 to end up actually getting through this unit. Azir 2 would actually help a lot because he does just that big laser beam, which could be enough to actually get the Gnar low enough that maybe Lillia can finish him off. But yeah, it's pretty wild that this board made it that far, and we might not even be able to beat this board. We'll see. Like I said, Azir 2 might be the key to winning this matchup. That was actually a big cast from Lillia. I feel like this could also just be like positioning diff here or picking up like Zyrakan diff. We cannot really play around this Dryad spat, so we are just going to take a Sterax here for our Wukong. Going to roll down. There's Zyrakan 2. He really wants to move TG over. The problem with moving TG over like this is that if we don't roll down and find a replacement Nico here, that could just completely grief our game. We did actually end up getting another Nico, but that was not guaranteed whatsoever. And if we missed on the Nico, like she's making all the synergies work. We'd end up dropping Mythic, we'd drop Heavenly or something. Feels really, really bad. This, even with all the upgrades, the Gnar ends up actually wrapping to backline, and it is going to be a dub for the other player. A second place for Setsuko, though. I feel like really, really nicely played game from him. Just a lot of really, really cool stuff done this game. Just really, really intuitive, good TFT from Setsuko. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe. Check out all my other links down below. Thanks for watching.